All right, today we're going to tear into something really cool, the blueprint for a monster movie that never actually got made, called Skins of the Chao Phraya. We're going to deconstruct how this treatment builds its world, ramps up the tension, and really perfectly blends those old-school creature feature vibes with the unique anxieties of its time. So right out of the gate, this thing just drips with atmosphere. This isn't just setting a scene, it's setting a mood. You can practically feel that humid air and smell the river. It's the perfect, murky stage for something terrible to crawl out of the water.
Okay, first up, Bangkok's Cold War nightmare. And this is where it gets really smart. See, it understands a golden rule of the genre. You can't have a great monster without a really compelling world for it to terrorize. And this story's world, it's built on a fascinating bit of alternate history.
Now, you might be thinking, why bother with all this alternate history? Well, it's brilliant, actually. By twisting the past, it creates this background hum of instability. This isn't our Thailand. A German-annexed Siam, a different path through the wars, a recent coup. It all makes the society feel just a little bit off balance. It's the perfect kind of place for monsters to start emerging from the cracks. So when you break it all down, this is the recipe they're working with. You've got your giant monster genre, sure, but setting it in 1960s Bangkok gives it this incredible, unique flavor. Then you layer on that Cold War paranoia, that sense of military urgency, and suddenly it's not just a creature feature, it's a political thriller with giant lizards. Okay, so we have our ingredients. Now let's see how the first act starts to cook. Section 2, Strange Things in the Canals, is where the mystery really kicks off, and where we meet the key players who are going to have to deal with this whole mess. Man, I love this. The writing is so tight. The water boils. A shadow moves. That's it. It's that classic horror rule. Don't show the monster right away. Show what the monster does. The tension just ratchets up beautifully before we see a single thing. And boom! There's our first look. But what's really key here is what the boatman screams. Phi Nam, water ghost. Before we get any kind of scientific breakdown, the creature is framed as this thing of local legend. It's not just an animal. It's a nightmare coming to life. You know, any monster movie worth its salt isn't really about the monster, right? It's about the people. And here, we get that classic clash. You've got Dr. Kwanjai, the scientist who wants to understand this new phenomenon, versus Colonel Morris, the soldier whose first instinct is to control and destroy it. This sets up the real battle of the movie, the battle of ideas. And this line, this is just a fantastic moment of scientific horror. It grounds the terror in something real. This isn't some mythical dragon. It's a skink, something familiar. But that last part, impossibly large, that's where your skin starts to crawl. That's where the science fiction really grabs you. So where did this thing come from? Well, it's a classic for a reason, right? It's straight out of the Cold War playbook. You've got a secret nuclear experiment, a catastrophic failure, and the consequences just seeping out into the world. The monster isn't evil, it's a consequence. It's what happens when we mess with things we don't understand. All right, so the secret's out. We know what created this thing, and that means it can't stay hidden in the canals forever. Welcome to Act 2, Monsters in the City. This is where the story explodes from a quiet mystery into a full-blown public crisis. And look where the creature makes its grand entrance. Not the Grand Palace, not some big government building. No, it tears through the Klong Toi slums, the homes of the city's most vulnerable. It's such a smart move because it immediately shows you the creature's raw power while making the threat feel so much more personal. This right here, this is where that human conflict we talked about just explodes. Dr. Kwanjai is pleading for a careful, scientific approach, warning that a military strike would kill more people than the monsters, and Colonel Morris's answer, napalm. It's that age-old question, is the cure going to be worse than the disease? And just when you think things can't get any worse, they do. This is such a great twist. The whole argument they were just having was about how to kill one monster. And then the ground rumbles. They realize there's another one. In a single moment, the problem just literally doubled. Okay, now for that scene you absolutely have to have in a giant monster movie. The part where the army finds out they're completely useless. They throw everything they have at it, rifles, bazookas, even tanks, and it's like throwing pebbles. It's a great way to show that our usual solutions, our brute force, just won't work here. So the military's plan failed, spectacularly. And that brings us to Act 3, the final battle for Bangkok. Brute force is off the table. The city is under siege, and it's all down to our small group of heroes to figure something out.
and fast.
But when they finally get to the heart of the problem, oh, it's so much worse than they thought. They find a nest. And it's not just a nest, it's filled with dozens of glowing eggs. That is just a fantastic, creepy visual. The threat isn't just the two monsters anymore, it's an entire army waiting to hatch.
So why is a nest full of eggs such an immediate crisis? This is why. The story introduces this awesome bit of sci-fi logic. The radiation doesn't just make them big, it puts their life cycle into hyperdrive. These eggs aren't going to hatch in weeks or months, it could be hours. This puts a ticking clock on everything. They have to win, and they have to win now. And all of that leads to this incredible climax. What I love is that they don't win with a bigger gun. They win by being smarter. They use science, they use strategy, they lure the creature into a trap. And that final image of the monster falling with the fire reflecting off the temple roofs, just beautiful cinematic stuff. But wait, we're not done yet. Because a really good monster movie doesn't just end when the creature falls. It needs that epilogue, that final chilling thought that sticks with you after the story's over. And this quote, this is basically the whole point of the movie, wrapped up in a perfect, chilling little bow. It's delivered years later by Dr. Quan Jai, the one person who got it from the start. They won the battle, sure, but she knows the war against our own mistakes is never really over. And that brings us to the very last shot. You get this beautiful, calm moment of the river flowing peacefully, and then that one word, ripple. It's perfect, just perfect. It tells you everything you need to know. The monster is gone, but the poison we put in the water, that's still there.
And that's where it leaves you. It takes this wild, pulpy story about a giant lizard and connects it back to something very, very real. It's a question that sticks with you, right? It's not just asking about a fictional monster, it's asking about consequences. What did we put into the water? And what happens when it finally decides to crawl back out?